Students, in the last discussion, we have discussed a lot about the transportation system which is generally observed among plants. There, we have discussed in details about the role of xylem, phloem, about their structure, how the ascent of sap takes place from the soil, how the water and other minerals diffuses into the cell. We have also discussed about transpiration pull also we have discussed, in what way transpiration is important in the ecosystem, that also we have discussed. So our overall discussion regarding transportation system in plant kingdom we have completed successfully. So today we will start discussing about the transportation in animals. In very simple animals, materials are transported through diffusion. In complex animals, there is a special transport system to carry oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, waste products, food, and various other substances from one part of the body to the other. This transport system, also called the circulatory system, comprises a blood vascular system and a lymphatic system. The blood vascular system has three components: blood vessels, and the heart. The lymphatic system includes lymph vessels and lymph nodes. Now, let us start discussing about blood. Blood is a liquid connective tissue having two main components: plasma and blood corpuscles. Plasma is the liquid part of the blood. It is made up of water with various substances dissolved in it. This include proteins, salts, glucose, nitrogenous compounds, and so on. In many invertebrates, plasma contains the respiratory pigment. Corpuscles are cells floating in the plasma. Red blood cells, a type of corpuscles in vertebrates, contain red colored respiratory pigment called hemoglobin. It is because of this presence of hemoglobin that the blood appears red. Now, let us enter into the structure of the heart and its function. Heart, you may also heard before this also, is a muscular pumping organ. It pumps blood that comes to it from other parts of the body through the circulatory system. It pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation, and oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. Now, control of the heart. The invertebrate heart is generally fully controlled by the nervous system. The vertebrate heart is controlled by a pacemaker system made up of specialized cardiac muscles present on the walls of the heart. Now, let us discuss about the inner structure of the heart. Heart is divided into chambers in order to prevent the mixing of oxygenated blood with deoxygenated blood. A complete vertical partition of the heart into left and right chamber ensures a complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. This type of partition is seen in animals having a double circulation system with two circuits. These animals, like mammals, birds, crocodiles, they have lungs. In one circuit, the blood flows between the heart and the lungs, and in the second circuit, it flows between the heart and the body. The heart has 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. Such a heart is called double heart. This type of complete separation into chambers provide an ample supply of oxygen to all parts of the body. These animals are quite active, so they have a high rate of respiration and require an efficient supply of oxygen. Birds and mammals, being warm-blooded, need to spend energy to regulate their body temperature. This also requires oxygen. Some vertebrates do not use energy for temperature regulation. Their temperature fluctuates with that of the environment, and we call them cold-blooded animals. In these animals, except crocodile, there is some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in the heart. This does not harm the animals, as their energy demands are not enough. In amphibians, the heart is 3-chambered, having 2 atria and a single ventricle. Such a heart is called transitional or transitional heart. Transitional heart. In most reptiles, there are two atria and an incompletely divided ventricle. Fish have a single circulation system. Their heart is two-chambered, having one atrium and one ventricle. Such a heart is called single heart. The first heart receives and pumps only impure blood. The impure blood goes to the gills for oxygenation, and from there it goes to different parts of the body. The impure blood returns to the heart for being pumped out to the gills. Therefore, the fish heart is also called venous heart. Now, let us discuss about the blood vessels. Those vessels which are responsible for carrying this blood from one part of the body to the other part. In vertebrates, the blood vessels are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries are more muscular, while veins are more elastic. Capillaries are made up of a single layer of squamous epithelium. In invertebrates, the blood vessels are not properly distinguished as arteries and veins. So these are about arteries, veins and capillaries. Now let us enter specifically into the circulatory system of man. Okay? Now let us first discuss about the blood present in the circulatory system in man. Blood, as you know, is a liquid connective tissue that circulates in a closed system of blood vessel. An adult man has about 5 to 6 liters of blood, while a woman on an average has about 1 liter less. Our blood consists of solid elements which include red blood corpuscles, that is RBC, white blood corpuscles, that is WBC, and the blood platelets, that is the blood platelets, and the liquid element, the plasma. The corpuscle comprise about 45% the corpuscles comprise about 45% and the plasma about 55% of the volume of blood. Plasma now is the next part which we will discuss. Plasma, as we said earlier, it is straw-colored liquid in which the RBC, WBC and the platelets floats. It contains mainly water in which are dissolved various substances such as plasma protein, food substances like amino acids, glucose, fat, etc., then nitrogenous compounds and ions of sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Next is blood corpuscles. Blood is red in color due to the presence of RBC. RBC contain the red colored respiratory pigment hemoglobin. This hemoglobin I also discussed earlier. This iron protein compound transports oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. RBC also transport carbon dioxide gas. WBC protects the body from infection and platelets helps in the clotting of blood. Now, let us say something about the clotting of blood. You must have noticed that after a cut, the skin bleeds for a while and then the blood thickens to form a clot. This process takes place as a result of a series of reactions in the blood. These reactions are started by the release of an enzyme by the circulating platelets. The clot, which forms at the point of the wound, is a microscopic network of insoluble fibrous protein. It minimizes the loss of blood. If blood is lost, it leads to a loss of pressure by the pumping heart. So, this was about the clotting of platelets. It is very much required, as you know, whenever our body is not getting the chance of proper dress up, proper dressing, then it should have its own mechanism by which the flow of blood will stop altogether. And that work is done very successfully by the process of blood clotting by the blood platelets. So, this is about clotting of blood. Dear students, in the next part, we will start discussing about the functions of blood categorically, one after another. We may have already said about some functions, but in a systematic way, much more systematic way, we will start explaining the functions of blood in the next part. Today we have discussed about heart, the structure of heart of various living organisms. Mainly we are telling about the animals. We said separately about human being also. We discussed about the plasma present in the blood. We discussed about the blood corpuscles, RBC, WBC, and finally we discussed about the blood platelets, which are responsible for clotting of blood. So I think today we have discussed a lot. we should keep something for the next discussion. So let us end up today here. We will meet in the next part. Till then, goodbye.